20 years ago, there was this kid, a scrawny, awkward dreamer growing up in Brooklyn, trying to survive a world that seemed determined to knock him down. His name was Chris, and while everybody hated him, we couldn't help but love every second of his story. Welcome to Movie Bites. Today, with Everybody Hates Chris, cast then and now. First up is Terry Crews, who brilliantly portrayed Julius Rock. Let me tell you something about this guy. Ever looked at your wallet and wondered how you could make $1 last all week? That was Julius. He was the dad who worked hard, never complained, and somehow made every cent count. Next up is Tichina Arnold, who played Rochelle Rock, the no-nonsense mom who kept the family in check. Rochelle was the kind of mom who didn't hesitate to speak her mind. And let's be honest, she had the best comebacks. Whether it was dealing with Chris's antics or Julius's frugal ways, Rochelle always had her family's back, no matter what. Moving on, we've got Tyler James Williams, who brought Chris Rock to life. Chris was the kid who could never catch a break. Whether it was getting picked on at school or trying to survive the chaos at home, it was one disaster after another. While Chris was out here just trying to make it through the day, his older brother Drew, played by Tequan Richmond, was living his best life. Drew was that guy who had everything going for him without even trying. Drew was cool and always getting attention, especially from the ladies. Every household has that one younger sibling who makes life just a bit more challenging. Meet Imani Hakim, who portrayed the sassy little sister, Tonya Rock, on Everybody Hates Chris. Tonya wasn't just Chris's younger sister. She was a force of nature. She'd get into trouble, throw tantrums, and somehow always knew how to make Chris's life even more difficult. But amidst all the chaos, Chris had a friend who always had his back. Greg, played by Vincent Martella. Greg was the loyal, slightly nerdy sidekick who made life a little less miserable for Chris. Sure, he was a little clueless at times, but he brought humor and heart to the show. Up next is Travis Flory, or rather Joey Caruso, the bully who made Chris's life a living nightmare. Let me tell you something about Joey. This guy had no chill. From throwing Chris's lunch in the trash to giving him constant grief, Joey was the kind of bully who just thrived on making other people miserable. Let's talk about another person who made Chris's life a living hell. Malvo, played by the late Ricky Harris. Man, this guy wasn't just an annoyance. He was a straight-up menace. It felt like every time Chris was trying to catch a break, there was Malvo, just stirring up trouble. Whether it was robbing him or just wreaking havoc, Malvo was like the human version of bad luck. Even when things were going sideways for Chris, there was a little glimmer of hope. His girlfriend, Tasha, played by the lovely Paige Hurd. Now, Tasha wasn't just any girl. She was the one person who made Chris feel like things could actually be okay. She was sweet, supportive, and, let's be honest, probably one of the few people who didn't make his life harder. Remember this guy? Yeah, the one who'd always ask Chris for $1. Jerome, brilliantly portrayed by Kevonte Jackson. Jerome had that smooth-talking, hustle mentality that made him a memorable character. He wasn't just looking to make a quick buck off of anyone who passed by. He made it an art form. You know the drill. Hey man, can I get $1? He had that swagger, and somehow, you almost wanted to give him one. Up next, we've got Todd Bridges, who brought the character Monk to life. Monk was the ex-military tough guy with a flair for spinning wild stories. Let's be honest, he wasn't exactly your first choice for life advice or a heart-to-heart, but his chaotic energy and unpredictable personality always kept things interesting. Moving on, we can't forget to mention Antonio Fargas, who played the unforgettable Doc on Everybody Hates Chris. Now, Doc wasn't just Chris's boss at the corner store. He was like that cool uncle everyone wishes they had. Always full of hilarious one-liners, random wisdom, and just the right amount of sass, Doc brought a special vibe to the show. Let's not forget Mr. Omar, the neighborhood funeral director who somehow made running a funeral business look hilarious. Played by the legendary Ernest Lee Thomas, Mr. Omar wasn't just a tenant in Chris's building. He was a walking soap opera. This guy had a knack for showing up at the worst possible times, throwing out his signature catchphrase, "Tragic, tragic," like it was punctuation. And lastly, we have Jackie Mazzarella, who gave us the unforgettable Ms. Morello on Everybody Hates Chris. Now, Miss Morello wasn't just any teacher. She was the queen of well-meaning but hilariously off-the-mark cultural insensitivity. Her cringe-worthy comments about Chris and her overly awkward attempts to relate had us laughing and facepalming at the same time. But hey, it was all in good fun. And speaking of fun, I had an absolute blast putting this video together for you. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow, and it makes sure you don't miss out on more nostalgia-packed content like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.